we're doing it. I've got all the new drugstore makeup and we're gonna try these products on my face today. Mostly new things from e.l.f, okay? And I'm like so excited about these. I have very high hopes. I also picked up Milani's new cream bronzer and I'm really excited, so let's just jump straight into it. I already applied foundation and concealer so we could go straight into the cream bronzer. So I picked this up at Ulta. I purchased the shade 110 Hey Honey. Now, when this arrived, I was like, oh darn, I accidentally purchased the wrong shade. And I had to go back to my order and look at it and see that no, this is in fact the lightest shade. And I just kept thinking, wow, in the pan, it looks really deep. Just for reference, this is the shade Parrot K from Rose Inc. This is the Milani. It looks super deep for being the lightest shade. Honestly, the shades were kind of weird. Even the swatches though looked really funky. Like there's something weird going on in the promo pics. So I'm not sure what to expect. This though is my Makeup Revolution cream bronzer and this is in the shade light. And I thought the same thing when I first purchased this, like, oh, this looks deep for a light, but it ended up being like a gray shade. So we'll see for the Milani. Okay, so this was kind of expensive for drugstore. This was $12.99. And just to talk about sizing here, this is 0.21 ounces or 6 grams. Okay, I've got my Say bronzer. The Say is 1 ounce, which I will say is big. This is definitely one of the largest amounts I've seen a brand give, but this is $32 versus $13. So for 2.5-ish times the cost of this, you could get this, but you would be getting more than 4 times the amount of product, almost 5 times. Compared to the Makeup Revolution, which is $8, this is 0.24 ounces, so similar amount of product, but $8 versus $13. So just to start off by saying this is expensive for the drugstore. So I think I'm gonna start off with this. This is the BK Beauty 109. I use this for pretty much everything, and this is what I've been using most days lately for my cream bronzer. It is like a small angled brush. So I didn't want to pick up too much from the start. We'll kind of see, okay. It's more pigmented than I was expecting. And also, when I was looking at not only the swatches, but the promo photos, I'm not gonna lie, I thought the bronzer looked kind of patchy in the promo photos. That being said, I would say that I find this to be the case often when it comes to like any cheek product, whether it's blush or bronzer. I think they can look bad in promo photos because they're applying a lot of it in order for it to be visible. So, you know, I didn't want to read too much into that. I think it's blending out very well on my forehead. And you know, it's blending out okay. I was a little bit worried at first because it is so pigmented and a little bit deeper than I would normally go for a cream bronzer. So I was like, you know, is it gonna blend out? Am I gonna be left with patchiness? Actually, it might be kind of patchy. Over here, this, let me grab, this is the sponge I used for my foundation. We'll just kind of tap around that. I do think it was blending out really nicely on my forehead. So that could have been user error because I first picked up the product and immediately placed it on my cheek. So maybe I just needed to get less product on the brush because like I said, the forehead blended out fine and the forehead was where I had less on the brush. Right off the bat, I don't think it's better than the $8 Makeup Revolution cream bronzer, but I'm gonna keep playing with it. Maybe my opinion will change, but right now, I'm gonna have to say I'm a little bit underwhelmed, especially considering it is $13. I don't think it blended out as well as I wanted. That being said, the powder bronzer from Milani is phenomenal. Just not sure about the cream. We'll keep trying that. But that is gonna lead us to the product I think everyone is probably the most excited about. e.l.f. Camo Blush. So this, I think we're all assuming is supposed to be a dupe for this. This is the Rare Beauty Blush. So e.l.f. just launched these and it's so funny because if you haven't seen it yet, I did my predictions video and I said in my 2023 predictions, like my predictions for this year, I was like, e.l.f. is gonna try to dupe the Rare Beauty blushes. And then when I did my wrap-up video a couple weeks ago, I was like, oh, it didn't happen yet, maybe next year. And then like a couple days later, they announced these. I picked up the shade Perfect Peach. Now, I ordered this from the e.l.f. website because at the time I ordered it, it wasn't available at Ulta, but by the time this video goes up, it will be at Ulta. So I purchased this shade because I was kind of wondering if it was gonna be close because it looked close to the Rare Beauty Blush in Bliss, which is my favorite. So let's go ahead and swatch them out. I would say right in the tube, it appears that the e.l.f. one is a little bit more nude and Rare Beauty Bliss looks a little bit more pink. Yeah, I would say that's true. I mean, they're so similar. I don't think you'll notice much of a difference on the cheeks, but just slight difference between them. I'm gonna say that the e.l.f. is a little bit more neutral, a little bit peach leaning, whereas there's a slight bit more pink in the Milani. I'm getting myself confused. In the Rare Beauty. Honestly though, these are so close. The difference though, the Rare Beauty one, this formula is matte. They have matte and more dewy. This particular shade is in the matte formula. Whereas these e.l.f. ones are supposed to be glowy. And I can already see just with this sitting here for a few seconds, the e.l.f. one is remaining much more dewy, whereas the Rare Beauty one has pretty much dried down. One more comparison that I want to share is the doe foot between these two. And I definitely don't think that they're identical. Rare Beauty has more of a flat surface and it kind of has a little almost spoon in it to pick up the product. Whereas the e.l.f. one is just more of your traditional doe foot. I would say it's pretty similar to something I would expect as a lip gloss or a lip oil. It's much more rounded. Okay, the way I normally apply the Rare Beauty is to just dot it directly onto the cheek. I want to try that with the e.l.f., but we'll go one cheek at a time just to see. So with the Rare Beauty blushes, just a dot or two like that is plenty. I don't know that the e.l.f. is going to be equally as pigmented. Yeah. I think we can go a little bit more with the e.l.f. That being said, this is the lightest shade that e.l.f. has, so I'm sure the pigment level is gonna vary a bit among the shades. I don't think this is picking up my foundation, which is a great sign already. I find very rarely do I not run into that when I'm applying something directly to the skin like that. Like the Rare Beauty ones are some of the few that I find that I actually can do that with, that don't pick up and don't move things around. I don't think that moved anything around. I don't think my bronzer looks nice, but that's not e.l.f.'s fault. That is Milani's fault. This is pretty. I like a matte cheek, but if you like a glow, this is beautiful. I think it looks incredibly radiant. So I was worried. I didn't want to do two cheeks like this because I was like, maybe we'll have to try the other one, like applying it on my hand and then blending it out. But it seemed to blend out just fine. So we're gonna go straight in for cheek number 2 and see how that goes. Okay, I think I'm gonna like this. The test is definitely gonna be the longevity here, seeing how long it's gonna stay throughout the day. I find that the Rare Beauty blushes have really great wear time to them. We'll see about the e.l.f. I don't know that I'm as optimistic about the e.l.f. because in my experience, very dewy products like this don't tend to wear as well. They tend to fade a bit faster compared to products that set down a bit more and have that more matte finish. Those are the ones that typically have that better wear time, but we'll see. I just added a little bit more because I was like, oh, I think we could go a little bit heavier on the blush today, so just tap this out. And then whatever's left, I'm kind of just gonna tap around the forehead to get everything to blend. When I'm at this stage of my blush, I don't mind if it looks like a little bit too much because I know when I put powder on, it's going to all kind of melt together. So let's do powder now. To stick with the e.l.f. theme, I'm gonna use their powder. This is their Halo Glow Setting Powder. I think it has new packaging now, but I've had this for a while. This is in the shade Light Pink, but don't let that name deceive you. It's definitely not a pink powder. It just has a pink undertone to it. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this on a puff. I'm gonna really load it up there. And then, okay, so when you're using a powder puff like this, if you can see like a big blob of the powder on your hand or on the puff, that's probably too much. So I recommend taking it on the back of your hand, kind of tapping it out. Or I had a subscriber say they like to do this into another powder puff so they don't lose any powder. That's genius. But if you just kind of like get this worked into the puff a little bit, you won't have as much on there. And so it's not just gonna be too much product in one spot. And this is how you get that super airbrushed, smooth under eye from powder without it looking like too much or being heavy. Like, look at the difference. I think a little puff like this is magical. I got these a while ago on Amazon, but I've seen them at Ulta. I've seen them everywhere. Like it doesn't matter. Just any like velour puff like this. Even with some powder, I kind of tried to avoid where I placed the blush, but I think even with powder over top, my cheek still has a really nice amount of dew going on, but I don't think it looks artificial. I think it just looks really natural and glowy. Now, I'm very excited about this new mascara. Okay, so this is the Lash Xtndr, and it is a tubing mascara. So let's quickly do something on the eyes so we can jump right into the mascara. But this is from Pixi. This is the Endless Shade Stick in the shade Matte Cognac. And my friend Simbri gave this to me because she said this is her like everyday eyeshadow. It's just like a one and done shade, and I've used it a couple times now, and I think it is just like the perfect shade for like a one shadow simple look. So you draw it on, and you could tap this out with your finger, but I'm gonna take a brush and just kind of blur out the edges a little bit. Oh my gosh, you guys, so I haven't filmed in a little while and I'm feeling so rusty today. It's funny when you haven't filmed in a bit, like getting back into it, I'm like, how do I do this? Even the thought of like, there's almost a choreography here to filming yourself doing your makeup, especially the way that my setup is, because I don't have like a desk in front of me. I have kind of things like all around me. So I feel like I keep like tripping over myself, like, okay, where do I put this? Where do I put this? Well, I do have like a little stool next to me that has the products on them, but there's no like desk in front of me because I film in my room, and one day I hope to have a separate space just for filming, but that is not my life at the moment, so we make it work. Okay, you see that? Simple, easy brown, and we're gonna jump right in to this mascara. I'm curious about this. I'm curious. I'm a little skeptical. I don't know why, because I really love their Lash and Roll mascara. But I purchased this obviously in the shade brown. And the test for this is definitely going to be how it washes off. So I'll have to leave a pinned comment to update you on the removal. Ooh, okay. This wand already reminds me a lot of the Lash and Roll wand minus the curve. So I grabbed Lash and Roll. Yeah, they're pretty similar, maybe not. I think what's reminding me of one another is that they're both rubber bristle wands, and the bristles are not too long on either of these, but the Xtndr definitely comes to more of a point, whereas the Lash and Roll has more of that noticeable curve. Okay, I do think it always benefits the mascara to apply it with nothing else on. Like, we have on such minimal eye makeup that in contrast, the lashes are gonna look very voluminous. But I mean, already, I do think the name Xtndr makes sense. I feel like it is definitely lengthening if that is your main goal. I'm noticing that. I will say right off the bat though, I'm noticing some clumping happening. So I would say it's not as clump free as the Lash and Roll. That's what I really love about the Lash and Roll. Like, the separation is unbeatable. This, I'm already feeling a pretty good amount of clumping happen, but it is building up really well. So here are my lashes right now. We've got the with and the without. For being a brown shade, you know, I'm gonna put that in air quotes because I don't think the brown pigment is super noticeable. I think it's really just translating as a black mascara. But I think my lashes look nice. What do you think? I'm like curious to see how it removes though, because I was just recently in a video talking about the Tarte tubing mascara. Again, tubing mascara, because that one, it is the weirdest thing. It literally is not a tubing mascara. I don't know why they call it that. It just comes off like a regular mascara. It flakes and smudges like a regular mascara. Nothing about that formula for me is tubing. Even though like the results are nice, I don't understand how they're defining it as a tubing mascara. But I feel like tubing mascaras have become so popular that everyone's kind of throwing that name on mascaras, but some of these aren't really tubing mascaras. So we're gonna see if this one actually is. Actually, I make you go to a pinned comment. Editing Kelly, put it on the screen. Let us know when it came off. Was it tubing? Okay, my lashes look nice, but they look clumpier than I like. I would like to go through this with a lash separator or do a 2 mascara look. You know, start with the Lash Xtndr to really put the volume on and then separate through them with the lash and roll. I think this would actually be a great combo. Also, for reference, this is the same price as this. They're both $7. Okay, for the lips, I'm so excited. This is the part I've been waiting for because I picked up the e.l.f. lip liners. These are $2 a piece, which just feels like such a steal. So I got 3. I picked up Spill the Tea, Truth or Bare, and then Baddest Beige. So we're also, of course, going to use the Glow Reviver lip oil, which I picked up the shade Apricot. So I'm like, what is gonna pair best with that? Let's go something kind of neutral. I think we'll do Baddest Beige. This was the shade when I was looking at the swatches, I was like, I think this is the one people will be really excited about. I could see this being like one of the most popular ones. So, okay. So wooden pencil, these are $2. Did I say that? I probably already said that because I just can't believe it. Okay, oh, I do have, let me try to wipe this off because I have some lip balm on and I feel like lip liner is hard to apply over lips that have something really nourishing on it, like a lip gloss or a lip balm. It's going on very easily, no tugging, no dragging, doesn't feel dry. This feels way more expensive than $2. Let me start there. Like, this is applying really nicely. And this shade is really, really pretty. Kind of did the outline and then filled in a little bit. You know what? Just for good measure. I'm normally a multi-lip liner girl, so let's do a second one. This is the shade Spill the Tea. And we'll just take a little bit of this one and kind of line around the edges just to do a bit of a contour, I'm thinking. Okay, I already love the lip combo. I'm not gonna lie. I could just stop right here. I could just blend it in with my finger a little bit and this could be done. But we're gonna use the new lip oil, which I'm assuming is supposed to dupe the Dior, which I haven't tried because I don't use Dior. But let's test this out. Let's see. This was $8, and like I said, I got the shade Apricot. So, ooh, before we do, actually, I pulled over some of my other drugstore lip oils so we can compare doe foot, because I don't know about you, but the applicator is very important to me. So I would say this one is already reminding me a lot of the Milani applicator. Very similar, maybe like slightly larger. I feel like the NYX lip oils are probably the most popular, but not for long. I think these e.l.f. ones are already kind of taking some of that attention. Yeah, it is like almost identical to the NYX lip oil applicator. Very, very similar. And then I don't think it's going to be that similar to the CoverGirl ones because they're a bit less round and a bit more pointy. But I will go ahead and show you just so you can see the side by side in case you have a preference in terms of applicator. I really think I'm going to like the e.l.f. one. Okay, this shade looks pretty much clear. So almost smells kind of minty. Not what I was expecting. I was expecting it to smell fruitier. Feels nice. Not globby at all. Not very sticky. Very smooth on the lips. I would say thinner than a lot of the other lip oils though. I don't know. My lips look very juicy and glossy. I think I like it. This is definitely a Kelly look. I've got on just like peach blush, just lip liner and lip oil, just a brown on my eyes. Like, kind of love this. I'm excited about most of these. Don't know about the Milani bronzer though. Updates to come, but I really hope you enjoyed this and found it helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.